So here is our first real examination of the temporal distance phase model, which is really nothing more than a structural tool to help explain how threats progress as time and space collapse toward an event. What we are looking at are 4 distinct phases: pre-game, long game, mid-game, and endgame, each phase with its own characteristics revolving around behaviors, expectations, problems, solutions, and the relevant skill sets needed. Like everything else in life, the choices humans make increase and decrease probabilities of various outcomes. Nothing about women's self-defense operates outside of these universal rules. The things you do within any phase will either lead you further toward an event or further away from an event, or they will keep you where you are. And those movements are not unidirectional under all conditions. Your choices and the choices of others can result in a complete bypass of phases, and in any direction. The behaviors and dynamics observed in each phase warrant appropriate responses. The advice of just run away seems absurd if you're being dragged by your hair down your own apartment hallway. To oversimplify, what works for one phase doesn't work for another. Moving from pre-game to endgame, the solutions shift from being highly cognitive and strategic to being almost entirely physical and primal. Take a typical pre-game dilemma of, where should we buy a house? Now just do a bit of dirty napkin math and multiply 50 states by 3 cities, 4 neighborhoods, 3 blocks, and 2 homes. Now contrast this with any endgame dynamic, in which the perpetrator attempts to do something specific in pursuit of their goal. No dirty napkin math needed here. You have one viable response or solution to that specific momentary problem, and perhaps some variations, but it all amounts to the same thing. We will often use expressions such as failed at long game, or successfully managed that mid-game problem. None of this implies any sort of victim blaming. Think of it as more like, I failed to stay awake for that entire movie. This isn't a true failure in the sense that one has made an error, but rather just a shift in state, with some degree of preference for having not done so. As these phases become more understood, it will be clear that one can be quite robust within one phase, while remaining fragile within another. Here it is noted again that the physical input becomes greater as one moves more proximally toward an event. And we now arrive at a much more clearly laid out description of each phases. Spend some time looking over this. We will return to these in future discussions. And if you're wondering what phase you're in, or wondering what the easiest way is to figure out where a given scenario falls, well, here you go. Hopefully this has all made sense. It is important that it does. When we next discuss this, we'll take a look at the 5 scenarios brought up in the TDP intro video, the probability of bad things happening, and see if we can more closely analyze them. We'll also begin to discuss how this model helps us to better assess the industry itself, so stay tuned.